Dave the Diver's Platinum was so much fun, with its mini games, crazy characters, beautiful cutscenes, and unrelenting references. When I got that first taste, there was only one thing on my mind. With over 40 trophies and 40 hours to platinum, it would take some time to become the best diver. Dave was recruited by his buddy Cobra to run a sushi restaurant. Cobra introduces us to Bancho. We bring him the fish and he provides the style. Although the fish aren't too fond of him. The restaurant is hit by an earthquake and damaged. We are sent off to collect supplies, and this also serves as the tutorial to how to catch fish with a harpoon. I'm naturally gifted with the harpoon anyway, so it was no problem. We then get introduced to Duff. He's the resident gun expert and waifu lover around this side of town. He's also jealous of Dave's peak performance body. After their spat, Duff teaches us about guns and we get our first trophy. Alright, Undersea Gunslinger. Completed the gun tutorial. We then get taught the other side of gameplay, running the sushi restaurant. We prepare dishes from any of the fish we catch and then we sell it on. Customers order off our menu and then Bancho prepares all the dishes. And Dave does his best to keep up. There's also mini games for pouring tea out for customers. At the end of the night, the total profit is calculated. You can use this money for further upgrades down the line. We also get a glimpse of the first boss to come. And then we get introduced to Dr. Bacon. He lets us know about the Sea People village. He also lets us know how to upgrade our equipment. So this earns us our second trophy. Oh, better equipment. I go back down diving for inspiration on my next meal.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
When we return, the restaurant is fixed, and we get our next trophy. Fix the restaurant. Got another one for customizing the restaurant, which I found out does absolutely nothing. There's no benefit to doing it. I spent some time catching new types of fish, with these special harpoons that you do mini games for. We run into John Watson of Sea Blue. They're a group who spread their love of the ocean and wildlife by way of grenades. And they love gaslighting you for some reason. We quickly make short work of him and send him crawling back home where he came from. Anyway, Duff sends us to find a suspicious package, where we come across this big squid fella, and he shoots his squid juices at us and sends us flying back. But we hit this fella so hard he starts reliving his life experiences. Anyway, we defeated the squid and we get our first glimpse at the sea people. Duff reminds us we're not here to help people or fish or whatever. Sorry if I was racist there. We're here for the goods. And the goods we got. Check it out. That was totally worth risking my life for. In between all that, we collected a few more trophies, so here they are. Which ended up with us at the Sea People village, where I tried my hand at some gambling, rode a beluga around town, tried my hand at some gambling, grew a seaweed farm and got a trophy, and I tried my hand at some gambling. We helped around in the village setting up some shops, and we got 2 new trophies for it. The next trophy was for selling 200 items at the workshop. So we did what any reasonable person would do and cheated it. We also get introduced to one of my favourite characters, Maki, a little girl who talks through a puppet, and we can say that puppet does not mince its words one bit. She tasks us with collecting these cleons, which are our favourite fish, and she even gives us a bug net to do it, but not without letting Dave know where he sits on the animal tier list. This eventually leads us to a boss fight against a giant Cleon, which helps us towards the Creature Hunter trophy. But it also gives us some important background on Maki when the Cleon drops a recording from her dad, which in fact shows he was killed when searching for the giant Cleon himself. This shows her problems with the puppet, but also shows she has a dream of becoming a chef. Bancho offers her a job, which leads to a relatively happy end for Maki. Anyway, back to the fishing. We go sneaking around, and we grab our next trophy for eating some very unsavory looking food, before a little cutesy wootsy sea king sends us on a mission, where we have to go exploring the glacial passage. Ooh. But considering the first mission he sent me on brought me to the devil of sea people, I wasn't looking forward to it. But surprisingly, it turned out alright. I only had to take a few pictures of some murals, and I got a new trophy with that as well. Oh, and one for entering the area too. And you know, it was pretty much easy street from then on. I had no problems at all whatsoever. It was a really nice, peaceful bit of gameplay. I was really surprised that, you know, nothing showed up or went wrong during this time. But I got through it nice and safely and gave us our next trophy too. Now, once I reached this spot, I kinda hit a block point in the game. I really needed a lot of money to advance the restaurant, and I needed dishes that had a high popularity rating so I could get my cooks the influencer points up. Now, the best guys for this were actually the narwhals. They gave the highest influence, so I had to kill a bunch of them. But the money I earned from the narwhals really sped up my progress. I was able to upgrade my farms and get the influencer levels needed for these two trophies. I also spent some time working on these Gyao monsters. They're basically like Tamagotchi but for fish. And I needed it to get this trophy when I had to raise 5 of them, which I eventually did. I took this downtime as a chance to go and finish off the last of the optional bosses that were left. Now, you had to find these bosses while diving at night, and you had to go look for a cyclone kind of tornado to enter the boss arenas. Now, this guy was a unit. Great white shark called Klaus. This guy came out with all the smoke straight away. He went straight for me, started chipping away at my health, no problem. He wouldn't leave me alone. He was one of the toughest fights I've had in the game. And of course, he had a gimmick. He could make underwater tornadoes with his back fin. That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. You couldn't dodge him. He had me on the brink of death so many times, and I was so lucky to get away out of it. And after what seemed like an hour of fighting him, I eventually managed to hit that decisive shot. When suddenly, out of the blue, my kill is stolen by a granny who hits harder than Kiryu himself. After that, you know, a bit of talking, a bit of yapping about some husband that died, or whatever, I was back to hunting for the miscellaneous trophies. I gave Dr. Bacon the last of his photos needed, and found the last weapon blueprint before I went looking for Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. You can actually find it in the glacial area at the left or the right side, encased in ice, but let me tell you, this is ridiculously hard to find. I spent way too long looking for this stupid hammer. And when I did find the thing, I killed a bunch of fish with it, but the trophy didn't even bother popping up for me. I had to literally bludgeon a fish to death to get that trophy. Our next port of call was going to the final level in the game, where we encountered these little sea creatures we had to kill with a laser. This ended up awakening their mama for our final boss fight. This turned out to be one of the best designed bosses in recent memory. Projectiles flying everywhere, and you even had a slow down time ability. You got to fight off with lasers against the boss, and there was multiple stages to it. You even went into a chase, seeing me do some crazy dodges if I do say so myself. You even got chased then at the end of it. But eventually the boss fell to us. And by us I mean he hit his head into a wall. We didn't do anything. And while he was trapped in the wall, the sea people came to our aid, and we prepared one final attack to end it.
Sir, excuse me, English or Spanish?
English.
Whoever moves first is gay.
Baby, you got something in your nose. Sniffing that cake.
Being the last boss, we got our Creature Hunter trophy. Everyone went back for the epilogue. We went to Bancho Sushi, where Dave and all of his friends were there to celebrate the end of a journey. But the game had another surprise for us. We see a rocket launching off into space, wondering where did this come from. It brings us to this cool final minigame where you have to delete the developers' names. And if you destroy them all, you get the Dev Killer trophy. You're then awarded with the trophy for watching the final credits, and you're transported back to the next day to continue your epilogue. We start our cleanup by feeding the cat 20 times, getting our 39th trophy. We set up a second branch of Bancho Sushi, getting our 40th. We upgrade one of our staff to level 20 to get number 41. We go on one last expedition down under to get our last strange fish. And finally, to wrap it all off, we earn our Artisan's Flame and claim our final trophy. Now for the final rating out of 10, pretty darn good.